despite its same again look suggesting otherwise. The second-generation Audi Q5 SUV is based on different underpinnings, with A5 coupe-aping voluptuousness along the flanks, and a chunkier Q7-esque grille lending an aggressive air to the front end. Depending on the model, it's also shed up to 90 kilograms of heft. As before, the Q5 has a fearsome ensemble of competitors. The BMW X3 and Mercedes-Benz GLC are vying against the Audi, while the Land Rover Discovery Sport and Range Rover Evoque mount a two-pronged British assault. Further alternatives include the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the Lexus NX and the evergreen Volvo XC60. Second-generation Q5, the same, but different, assembled at purpose-built facility in Mexico. There's a greater degree of aluminium and high-tensile steel used in the Q5's construction. This time around it's both stronger and lighter, that latter aspect benefiting overall efficiency. It also cleaves the air more effectively than any of its SUV rivals, with a drag coefficient of 0.30, which is relatively low for this size and shape of car. Technology and the whole SUV sector have moved along leaps and bounds since the first Q5 appeared, with the second-generation model employing many of the benefits of the latest features. An improved MMI, multimedia interface, with much more responsive voice control is the centerpiece of the impeccably well-constructed new cabin. It now feels like it fuses the styles of the A4 and Q7, no great surprise and no bad thing either. Outside you'll spot niceties such as the optional LED matrix headlights that automatically adapt their beam patterns to road types and weather conditions. But the tour de force you feel rather than see is the adaptive air suspension. That also costs extra, but should be top of your priority list if you can stretch to it. By allowing the car to be raised by up to 45 mm in off-road mode, the Q5 becomes much more capable off the beaten track, able to traverse terrain that would halt models with the standard suspension arrangement. It's never going to be a rugged go-anywhere SUV. That the Quattro Ultra all-wheel drive system is not permanent on 2.0-liter models and has no method of locking drive to all four wheels sees to that, but it's more capable than you'd expect. Petrol and diesel powerplants. Audi will flesh out the Q5's engine range during 2017, but from its launch there was a limited range of one petrol and one diesel to choose from, joined in the spring by a petrol-swelling Q5 performance model. That headline-grabbing model requires just 5.4 seconds to complete the 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint, thanks to its 354 horsepower turbocharged 3.0-liter engine. The more mainstream powerplants are fitted exclusively with the 7-speed S-tronic dual-clutch automatic gearbox and, part-time, Quattro Ultra all-wheel drive, while the Q5 has an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic. Familiar Audi range structure for the Q5. Don't award yourself any prizes if you guessed the Q5's trim level hierarchy to follow the tried and tested say, Sport and S-line format. Audi's been perfecting this one for years. The higher performance Q5 is effectively a trim level in itself. Most are expected to plump for the S-line version, but there's no need to feel shortchanged by saving some brass and going for the say, even though only 5% of buyers are expected to do so. You'll still get 18-inch alloy wheels, xenon headlights with LED day running lights, leather upholstery, 3-zone climate control and keyless ignition. You'll have to go for at least the Sport if you fancy sat-nav and S-line for LED headlamps, though. Audi Q5 SUV model history. January 2017, second-generation Q5 available to order with first deliveries from April. Only 2.0-liter TFSI petrol and TDI diesel available initially, each with a choice of say, Sport and S-line specifications. Standard gearbox is the 7-speed S-tronic dual-clutch automatic. February 2017, there's a 354 horsepower 3.0-liter V6 petrol engine with an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic for the second iteration of the Audi Q5, available to order now for June delivery. Grey exterior detailing and different bumper and grille treatment differentiated from the less powerful models. Read the full Audi Q5 SUV review to find out how good this premium crossover really is. 2.0-liter petrols and diesels for the mainstream range. Petrol power for Q5 performance version V6 TDI due in 2017. Lower powered models may follow from launch. Only a pair of 2.0-liter engines, one petrol, the other diesel, were available. But during 2017 performance for the Audi Q5 range was uplifted with the introduction of the Q5. Efficient TDI diesel. The mainstay of the Audi range for years now has been 2.0-liter diesels, So it's no surprise that a 190 horsepower version fitted with a 7-speed dual-clutch S-tronic automatic gearbox and part-time Quattro Ultra all-wheel drive is expected to be the most popular choice. Big torque of 400 Nm is available low down in the rev range, from 1,750 to 3,000 revolutions per minute, making it easier to access the Q5's accelerative power from low speed, great for exiting junctions or completing safe overtaking maneuvers. That power delivery feels linear with only a slight lag from the turbocharger. Top speed is 135 miles per hour, while the 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint takes 7.9 seconds, so it's hardly slow. It's also pleasantly refined, although its quietness was accentuated by the double-glazed side windows on our test cars. Like many vehicles fitted with dual-clutch transmissions, the S-tronic can prove hesitant when pulling away from a standstill or crawl, while the software gets the transmissions act together. This can prove disconcerting at roundabouts, and was more apparent in the diesel than the TFSI petrol. You do learn to drive around it, though, and for most buyers this TDI is the engine to go for. Punchier TFSI petrol motor. Audi expects up to 40% of UK buyers to choose the turbocharged 2.0-litre TFSI petrol powerplant for their Q5s. A point amplified by fears among London residents that extra charges could be levied against diesel engine cars. It's also the pick of the 2.0-litre range for those seeking to maximize performance rather than lower their running costs. 252 horsepower and 370 Nm of torque from 1,600 to 4,500 revolutions per minute ensures it's a very flexible performer, gathering momentum impressively and progressively. Audi quotes a top speed of 147 miles per hour and a hot hatch-like 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 6.3 seconds. Unsurprisingly, it's a hushed mechanical unit, erring on the side of raspiness rather than screaming for mercy when you press on harder. Petrol power for second-generation SQ5. While the first SQ5 employed a diesel engine, this time around it shares the same 3.0-litre V6 TFSI 354 horsepower powerplant with the related A4 and S5 models. There's 500 Nm of torque on tap from 1,370 revolutions per minute through to 4,500 revolutions per minute, enough for a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 5.4 seconds. Top speed is electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. No S-tronic twin-clutch gearbox here. The SQ5 uses an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic instead to cope with the extra torque, sending drive to all four wheels via a full-time Quattro system. It's undeniably fast in a straight line but never feels particularly dramatic. Rivals like the Mercedes-AMG GLC 43 provide more theatre, while the SQ5 is very businesslike in the way it gathers pace. The gearbox is also a bit Jekyll and Hyde at first, sleepy in its responses when set to D and overly keen to drop gears in S. The best middle ground involves using the steering wheel mounted paddles to choose gears for yourself, and in this mode the SQ5 is rewarding to drive. Future Q5 engine options during 2017. A 3.0-litre V6 TDI will augment the diesel offering, complete with a Tiptronic fully automatic gearbox and permanent Quattro four-wheel drive. There's a possibility that a pair of lower-powered 2.0-litre TDIs may also make it to the UK in due course, the 150 horsepower edition also available with a manual gearbox and front-wheel drive, but these aren't part of any immediate plan. Audi remains tight-lipped about the prospect of either a plug-in hybrid or fully electric e-tron version of the Q5, but we do expect a racier RS Q5 during this model's life cycle. Handling is very competent but not exactly fun ride quality, with optional air suspension. Impresses 2 modes for off-roading increase the Q5's appeal. You won't choose an Audi Q5 because it offers the most thrilling driving experience in the segment, but its handling characteristics are well balanced and conducive to making brisk progress in comfort. There's one significant caveat here: all of the Q5s we've driven so far have been fitted with the excellent, but optional, adaptive air suspension system. Models fitted with standard steel springs and conventional dampers, as well as adaptive ones, will be sampled on poorly surfaced UK roads, as will the high-performance SQ5. Audi Drive Select is standard across the range, allowing various aspects of the Q5's handling parameters, throttle response, transmission shift pattern and steering response, to be varied or mixed depending upon personal preferences. Steering's one area Audi's suffered with criticism in the past, but this Q5, along with the A4 and A5 ranges it shares its underpinnings with, have come on significantly. There's an enhanced degree of feel through the wheel itself, more so when you switch to dynamic mode, although we would have liked a bit more weight in this setting. The ride height of the air suspension is also controlled via the drive select system by toggling between its different modes. Most will keep it in auto for the majority of the time, but comfort's great for traversing poorly surfaced asphalt or plying motorways with ease, isolating you further from the outside world. It still feels controlled and composed, though not suffering with the same degree of floatiness you'll experience in a similarly equipped Mercedes GLC class. Dynamic mode sharpens up the Q5's responses, reining in body roll that bit further, yet while it's immediately firmer, it's not jarringly so. Sharper ruts still feel as though their edges have been rounded off. Flicking to this mode also lowers the car by 15mm. If you're intending to venture off the beaten path with your Q5, then the all-road increases the ride height by 25mm, and off-road, a further 20mm higher, modes will get plenty of use, increasing ground clearance to make traversing trickier terrain something you can do confidently. In these modes the ride quality isn't as soft, but feeling those extra bumps and crevices keeps you more attuned to the surface conditions. Sportier SQ5 tightens up, handling the fastest Q5 on offer. The SQ5 offers remarkable handling and road holding for a car this size, reminiscent of a large hot hatch. Grip levels are huge with the Quattro system clinging onto the tarmac with neck-straining ability, and body roll is kept well in check providing you select the dynamic drive mode. The only complaint really is with the steering, overly light and devoid of feel. It doesn't inspire confidence like the setup in more driver-focused cars like the Porsche Macan. As a result, the SQ5's best work is done with a little performance held in reserve, rather than being driven at 10/10ths. As such, it makes for a superb Grand Tourer. Beautifully made cabin feels special if not innovative. Few blind spots, excellent visibility with the marque's wholly justified reputation for the supreme quality of its interiors. There's no surprise that the Audi Q5's cabin is an exquisite place in which to spend time. Like the Q5's exterior, its passenger compartment doesn't stray away from Audi conventions in terms of how it looks. Here it feels like there's a fusion of A4 and Q7 going on, and that's no bad thing. Plastics in the upper reaches of the dashboard have a satisfyingly deep degree of squidginess, while everything is assembled with such accuracy and working to incredibly tight tolerances, that it feels like it will last for years and still be as good as it was on day one. Expensive feeling switchgear feels delightful to use and is beautifully weighted, reinforcing the Q5's premium positioning, although we remain unconvinced about the multimedia display screen that now stands proud of the dashboard on a permanent basis, rather than be ensconced within its own domain or glide effortlessly out of sight when not in use. Audi's not the first to employ this tactic, and it cites a customer preference for having these dabbler taping screens on show all of the time. Should you wish to make your Q5's cabin feel even more special, you can push the boat out financially and opt for the 12.3-inch virtual cockpit, a configurable screen that replaces the conventional instrument cluster, or the excellent head-up display (HUD) that projects data onto the windscreen. Best to choose one or the other, both feels like overkill. Finding a suitable driving position is easily achieved, regardless of whether or not the front seats are electrically adjustable, and the steering adjusts for distance and angle. All-round visibility's decent, too, helped by the Q5's third side windows and slender windscreen pillars. Air suspension improves Q5's comfort. Leather seats and 3-zone climate control rear seat would be a squeeze for 3 adults. One aspect that the first-generation Audi Q5 majored on was comfort, and it features even more prominently second time around. It's worth reiterating that so far we have only driven the Q5 fitted with the optional air suspension system, which serves up one of the most cost-setting experiences in this corner of the SUV market. Even in the appropriately titled comfort setting, the Q5 remains composed, rarely suffering from the kind of nausea-inducing floatiness that blights the Mercedes GLC when equipped with a similar kind of suspension. Most Q5 buyers are expected to choose the S-Line trim, complete with 19-inch wheels. Even with those, in dynamic mode, passengers are extremely unlikely to complain about being jolted about. As per the class norms, there are 5 seatbelts within the Q5, although seating a quintet of adults comfortably will be a challenge, especially with the narrower, firmer center rear seat. 4 up there'll be no grumbles, with decent head and legroom and a fine view out from the elevated seating positions. The seats themselves feel very supportive. All front chairs have an electrically adjustable lumbar support, while standard leather trim makes the cabin feel that bit more special. Only S-Line versions have rear privacy glass and acoustic side windows, to limit exterior noise entering the cabin, as part of the standard package. 3-zone climate control features across the lineup, enhancing comfort that bit further. Wind noise is low, but certain types of road surface do amplify the tire roar, although it's effectively drowned out when you turn on the audio system. 4 trim levels including the SQ5 all are generously equipped extensive and expensive options. The familiar specifications of say, Sport and S-Line were joined shortly after launch by the sporty SQ5. Standard Audi Q5 SUV equipment, if you remember the days when say, for special equipment, was the pinnacle of the trim hierarchy, it's time to get with the times. Here it denotes the entry point to Q5 ownership. Audi doesn't expect many buyers to go for this trim. Survey the exterior and you'll notice the 18-inch 5 twin-spoke alloy wheels, xenon headlamps with LED day running lights, and full LEDs at the rear. Grills and trim details are black, either matte or glossy depending on their location, contrasting with the aluminium roof rails. Once aboard you'll spot the leather upholstery, heated front seats, 3-zone climate control and aluminium trim inlays for the dashboard and door panels. The rear seats split into 3 parts in a 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds configuration for additional flexibility, while the tailgate is electrically operated. Many of the Q5's controls are operated from an improved MMI, multimedia interface, system, displaying on a 7.0-inch color monitor. There's no sat-nav, but you can connect your smartphone using Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, while Bluetooth connectivity, a pair of USB points and SD card readers and a 9-point supplement the CD player, a rarity on contemporary cars. DAB radio and 10 speakers complete the infotainment package. Driving the C-grade Q5 you'll be able to take advantage of the cruise control, parking sensors, autonomous emergency braking, keyless starting, an electric parking brake and comfort-biased suspension. Audi's Drive Select system also allows you to vary the parameters of the engine's responsiveness, automatic gearbox shifts and climate control effectiveness. If you decide upon the middle-ranking Sport, the differences are surprisingly few. The alloy wheels are still 18 inches but are now of a 5-arm star design, while the grille inserts are finished in twilight grey. Moving to the cabin, the standard front seats have been exchanged for a sportier pair with electric lumbar adjustment, while the interior is bathed in ambient LED lighting. There are 2 upgrades for the MMI system, 2, SatNav and Audi Connect, which allows access to a range of online services. Next up in the Q5 range, and expected to account for almost 2/3 of sales, is S-Line, which is even sportier than Sport, and to demonstrate it's fitted with 19-inch 5 twin-spoke star alloys, beefed-up model-specific bumpers and body kit, as well as darkened privacy glass to the rearmost windows. Expect the ride to be firmer but the handling more agile thanks to the firmer S-Sport's suspension. The headlights have been upgraded to full LED units, while the rear ones are hallmarked by dynamic indicators. The beam of amber light pulsates outwards with each flash. There's a smattering of S logos in the cabin, including ones embossed onto the leather and Alcantara sports seats, while the sportier steering wheel and gear lever are trimmed in perforated leather. Topping the lineup is the performance-focused SQ5. It looks very similar to the S-Line but is differentiated by 20-inch versions of the same alloy wheel design, electrically adjustable seats with fine Nappa leather upholstery, and the upgraded MMI Navigation Plus multimedia system. Optional Audi Q5 SUV accessories 11 metallic and pearlescent paint finishes supplement the 2 standard choices, with an array of alloy wheels up to 21-inch diameter allow for greater personalization. 2 suspension options are listed. The adaptive comfort system allows for a degree of control to vary the firmness using the Audi Drive Select, but for even more control, comfort and enhanced off-roading capability, the more expensive adaptive air suspension gets our vote. Usefully, Audi has bundled a number of key options into packs, although many of the component parts are also available as individual options to suit varying budgets. Adaptive Cruise Control Plus Pack. Distance regulation cruise control is joined by Predictive Efficiency Assistant, which uses sat-nav data to advise the driver on how to be more efficient, or even match the local speed limits automatically. There are also 2 anti-collision technologies integrated into the system: Comfort and Sound Pack, electrically adjustable front seats, keyless entry, hands-free tailgate and an uprated Bang & Olufsen sound system light and vision pack. The 12.3-inch virtual cockpit is joined by an increased degree of interior LED lighting, with 30 hues to select from, and LED matrix headlights which shut down sections of light to allow main beams to remain partially on without dazzling oncoming drivers. Parking assistance pack. 360-degree camera positions are supplemented by an automated self-parking function. Parking assistance pack advanced. As its name suggests, it builds upon the aforementioned pack with blind spot warnings, a rear cross traffic alert to warn the driver of oncoming traffic when reversing out of a space, and exit warning to advise occupants of oncoming traffic before they open a door. Technology pack. Enhanced MMI system with 8.3-inch display screen, 10 GB hard drive for music storage, DVD player and wireless smartphone charging for compatible devices. Vision pack. Fully digitized 12.3-inch instrument binnacle, a head-up display, HUD, system to project key information onto the window screen, and automatic main beam function. 5 stars when crash tested by Euro NCAP. All have partial LED lighting and all-wheel drive. So much remains on the options list, though as expected the crash testing experts at Euro NCAP awarded the Audi Q5 a full 5-star safety score when it was assessed. Among the safety highlights, every Q5 benefits from LED day running lights and tail lamps, part-time quattro all-wheel drive, full-time on the SQ5, cruise control, autonomous emergency braking, a pop-up bonnet for enhanced pedestrian protection, automatic lights and wipers, 2 ISOFIX child seat mounting points in the rear seats, and 6 airbags. What we're disappointed about is how much of the plethora of cutting-edge safety equipment remains on the extra cost options list. Although S-Line and SQ5 versions have full LED headlamps, Audi's matrix LED units are extras on all models. These ones shut down portions of light so as to not dazzle oncoming cars when the main beam is switched on. It's worth noting that automatic main beam lighting is also extra. Similarly, Audi's excellent head-up display system that projects key information such as speed and sat-nav directions onto the windscreen is also optional. Fancy adaptive cruise control, a 360-degree camera, blind spot warning, cross-traffic alert to advise you of oncoming vehicles when reversing out of a space, or even a clever system where a warning light flashes if you're about to open a door with cars approaching from behind? Well, they all cost extra, too. If you're buying a new Q5 and have funds to spend on options, think carefully about whether you need those larger alloy wheels or an upgraded audio system over something that will keep you and your passengers safer. Not the most spacious, but on par with rivals, electric tailgate adds further convenience. Would you risk ruining the lovely interior? Despite the premium finish and price of the Q5, buyers of a family-sized SUV still expect a sensible degree of practicality. Sensible is exactly what they get, too, for the Audi doesn't set new standards in capaciousness. Rear seats up, the 550-litre cargo volume is on par with the BMW X3 and Mercedes-Benz GLC, but with them folded over, it's 50 litres shy of their 1,600-litre capacity. Land Rover's Discovery Sport rules the roost here with up to 1,698 litres. Still, it's not bad, and you do have the added bonuses of both an electrically operated tailgate and a rear seat that split folds in a 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds arrangement, allowing long, slender loads to be accommodated as well as carrying 4 passengers comfortably. If you order your Q5 with the optional air suspension, a bonus of the system is that the rear of the car can be lowered by 55 mm to aid the loading of heavier items. Poke around the passenger compartment and you'll find the usual mix of lidded cubbies, door bins, cup holders and a usefully sized glove box, all nestled into those high-grade interior plastics.